Sandra.
Welcome back to Campus Media on WVOX AM 1460 and heard around the world on WVOX.com. Now, a quick story from our old friend John Charan. The Trans Am Memorial Day Classic, it's a big auto racing event, is happening this weekend up at Lime Rock Park up in Salisbury, Connecticut. And veterans and members of the active military can get free admission to this big auto racing event. Again, this is at Lime Rock Park in Salisbury, Connecticut, the Trans Am Memorial Day Classic. For more information on that, go to limerock.com. And I think we have a guest coming up, Ken.
Yes, we do. Thank you, Jack. And again, it's Ken Kraetzer for Campus Media here on WVOX 1460. And very pleased we have with us Lieutenant Marycate Walsh from the United States Navy.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Thank you for taking time for us today. You're a public affairs officer working on New York City Fleet Week. We're all excited. We've been working on this now for 20 years, since 2003. From hosting sailors and Marines as they will be coming up to Pelham, where Jack and I both grew up in, and to other various communities in Westchester and the metropolitan area, and so many events with the fleet arriving. And so we're always pleased to work on New York City Fleet Week, and should be another very good one this year. You got the USS Wasp coming in and the USS Cole. Tell us about the ships coming in this year.
Sure. So yeah, you're right. In Manhattan, we'll have the USS Wasp, which is an amphibious ship. It is a very large ship that can carry up to 3,000 people, launch and recover aircraft from its deck. And that will be on Pier 88 in Manhattan. In Manhattan, we also have a Canadian ship, an Italian ship, some ships from the Naval Academy, and some Coast Guard vessels. But then we also have ships in Staten Island and on Naval Weapons Station Earl that are available for tours.
That's great. And one of the interesting stories is the UK ship that you have, the Ocean Survey vessel HMS Scott from Plymouth, United Kingdom. We remember when it was here about 18 years ago, Jack.
Yeah.
And Jack, we got a cult when they came up. Their sailors came up and marched in our Memorial Day parade in Pelham. And Jack led a color guard. We had the naval jack out for them.
Yes, that's right. With the Boy Scouts. That was a tremendous honor, yeah.
That was terrific. Now, tell us a little bit about the three allied country vessels. You have the Scott from the UK, you've got ships from Canada and Italy.
That's right. So they'll all be here in Manhattan on Pier 88 and Pier 90. And we're just so looking forward to having them here with us for Fleet Week this year. There's something that we do as a Navy that we don't do alongside our allies and partners, and that includes coming here to New York City to sail with you. So I hope that when you're here in New York, you'll have a chance to meet some of our allies and partners as well.
Yeah, we're involved with the Naval League of the United States. We've gone to some of their conferences in Washington, and there have been quite a few Italian naval officers at those conferences. We've got a chance to chat with them, and I always do comment that my father in the U.S. Army served in Italy in World War II, helped liberate the northern part of the country. And another ship that is well known, the USS Cole will be back for Fleet Week. I visited the Cole a few years ago. It, of course, was the target of a terrorist attack in the Middle East, and a number of sailors were killed, but the ship was returned and repaired and is back in service. It's a special ship in the U.S. Navy.
That's right. Yeah, that's a guiding missile destroyer, one of our multi-platform warships that can do just about everything that we do as a Navy at sea. They'll be over on Naval Weapons Station Earl and available for tours if interested.
Okay, yeah. We once hosted the commander of that base for a Memorial Day ceremony. And the other ship coming in is an amphibious dock landing ship, the USS Oak Hill, LSD-51. Tell us a little bit about that ship.
Sure, yeah, the Oak Hill is one of the ships that would take part in an amphibious readiness group deployment. They would embark Marines on board. They can load and unload Marines through their well deck for amphibious operations. And then over on Staten Island with the Oak Hill, we'll also have the USNS Newport, which is an EPF. That is a really cool ship, part of our Maritime Sea Lift Command community, which provides support and logistics to our Navy and all of our armed forces in times of conflict and peace.
Very good, and so it's going to be quite a impressive group of ships coming into New York for Fleet Week. Also, you can't forget the Coast Guard. Coast Guard's going to be represented with one of their new ships. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, the Coast Guard, the Diane Port will be here on Pier 86 in Manhattan, and we will have, again, we'd love to have you guys come down and tour the ships. They're going to be here alongside the rest of our cohort. They are one of their cutters, and they the Coast Guard is all over the country and the world. They deploy as far-reaching as we do in the Navy, even though their primary mission is homeland defense. So certainly a very powerful platform that we'll have here with us.
Very good. And you've got, I want to suggest to listeners that they go to the Fleet Week, New York City 2023 Fleet Week website, and all of the schedules are there, and the availability for tours of the ships are all there. And so many activities, hard to know where to start, but the U.S. Navy Band is going to be performing, I see, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Times Square. Tell us a little bit about that. Is that the band based in Newport?
This is the Northeastern Band. It's the U.S. Navy Band. I believe they are based out of Newport. They are just fantastic. If you've ever had a chance to see the Navy Band perform, they are some of the best musicians, I think, in our country. True professionals that go above and beyond for every single performance. And they'll be there in Times Square. We'll also have the Marine Silent Drill Platoon, as well as the U.S. Navy Ceremonial Guard. The Ceremonial Guard is based out of Washington, D.C. They're a group of 200 sailors. There'll be about 20 here for the performances, and a lot similar to the Marine Corps Silent Drill Platoon. They can do drill performance. You're probably familiar with seeing them throw the rifles around, in formation, in some pretty impressive maneuvers. But they'll be here in Times Square as well. Those sailors are the same sailors that do honors and ceremonies for our president, for our chairman, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and others foreign allies and partners that come and visit our country. They render honors, and they are the only unit approved to do funeral honors at Arlington National Cemetery for the U.S. Navy.
Okay, Jack McGurk, question for our guest?
Yeah, well, I was looking at the list of the ships participating here, and one that jumps out to me is the Virginio Fassan from Italy, an Italian ship there. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about that. Is this the first time you've had an Italian ship in the New York City Fleet Week?
I'm not sure if it's the first time, but I will tell you that it's not unusual for us to be working alongside our Italian partners. We, like I said, they're a NATO partner, and we do all of our operations from all around the world alongside our allies and partners, including Fleet Week. So I'm not sure if it's the first time they've been here, but I imagine it is not. I imagine they've been here alongside us before.
One time we were invited to a Columbus Day Navy ceremony on the USS Nassau that was in for Columbus Day, and a friend of ours who grew up in the same town, Richard Greco, senior official of the Navy, invited us to that, and they had an Italian submarine that came in.
Oh. That
one, and it was parked at the pier alongside. I'm pretty sure it was a conventional, but it was neat to see a submarine there, and it was from Italy. It's probably about 10 years ago. You've got some great groups that you're going to be working with. And we always got to start with the Girl Scouts. You got a couple of events where they're going to bring Girl Scout cookies down. They've got a wonderful program from Girl Scouts Heart of the Hudson. They've given away 1 million boxes of Girl Scouts to military and veterans. And they're going to come down to the ships, drop off cookies, and I bet they're going to get a chance for a tour.
Yeah, and we are hopeful that we'll be able to get a few new recruits out of those Girl Scouts. We, as you know, in the U.S. Navy, are positioned to be, we're looking forward to getting engaged with some of our younger members of our country. We, especially the Girl Scouts. I mean, it's an awesome opportunity to get out there and be alongside the men and women and their families who fund the Navy and let them see a little bit more about what it is that we do. And I do hope that, I never know during one of these events, it could be the next Chief of Naval Operations that's walking aboard and towing the ship. And because of their Fleet Week experience, they decide to join the Navy.
Absolutely. And as we said earlier, that guests from Fleet Week, Sailors, Marines, and some of the international guests will be participating in parades in Westchester County. Sunday, Hastings on Hudson, Pelham on Memorial Day, Irvington, Dobbs Ferry, Crestwood, and they'll also be going down to one of our favorite spots, City Island in the Bronx on Memorial Day. What is it like, feedback you get from the visitors to Fleet Week to go up and into kind of the suburban areas and get a chance to march in these Memorial Day parades?
Yeah, it's a reception that we get is just wonderful. I mean, there's nothing better. We don't oftentimes in the Navy get to be around. We don't get to be on the home front all that often. We deploy, we do our missions overseas. So any chance we get to be here, stateside, hand in hand with our neighbors here is a good one. And I am always just kind of it's a really proud feeling you get when you see your sailors and Marines interacting with the local public, and you see the appreciation on the faces of Americans, but also the true respect and privilege it is to serve in the eyes of your sailors and Marines.
No, it's great. It's been a project that we've been working on for about 20 years. And actually, it's 20 years. We started in 2003. And we're talking to Lieutenant Marycate Walsh of the United States Navy. Lieutenant, just tell us a little bit about your career.
Sure, yeah. I grew up in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, so not too far south of here. I graduated from the Naval Academy and went on to serve on 2 warships, a destroyer, like the Cole, and then I deployed throughout the Pacific with a destroyer squadron of various number of ships. And since then, I've had some tours of the Pentagon, down in Norfolk and back up in D.C., but every single one of them has truly been an honor and privilege to wear the uniform, and that's never been lost on me. It's a privilege to serve our country.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be at the West Point graduation on Saturday, but we cover Annapolis and Army Navy sports all through the year, and we have tremendous admiration for everybody at the Naval Academy and all of their graduates we talked to during the course of the year. I just want to thank you so much for calling in today, telling us a little bit more about New York City Fleet Week starting on Wednesday, running through Memorial Day. And again, I guess the best thing is for people to go to the New York City Fleet Week website for specifics on schedule.
That's right, that's fleetweeknewyork.com.
Very good. Lieutenant Marycate Walsh from the United States Navy, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your service to our country.
Thank you.
Okay. Great to get some first-hand information on Fleet Week. But I remember so well, Jack, when you marched up Fifth Avenue in Pelham with the UK Naval Jack banner, as they call it, and your color guard, and I thought we did a nice job with that. Recognized, I think there were 3 UK sailors.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a nice memory. We see as the same ships coming back this year.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. You're listening to Campus Media on WVOX AM 1460, heard around the world on WVOX.com. We thank today's special guest, Lieutenant Marycate Walsh from the United States Navy. Remember to check out our Facebook pages, Campus Media, our Sea Services page, Ariana Basketball Report page, and our West Point Football Report page. And until next week, remember to thank a veteran.
Yes, for Westchester Eye on the radio. You're calling for Westchester Eye on the radio.
America's great community radio station, continuing the legacy of Bill O'Shaughnessy. 1460 WVOX.
Okay, can I get your name one more
New
time,
Rochelle.
please?
AP News, I'm Ed Donahue.
Can I get your name one more time, please?
President Biden at the White House about raising the nation.